Welcome to Help! I Have Kids. I'm your host, Pam Marshall, a mom of 5 and a pediatric occupational therapist with over 35 years experience. This podcast is designed to equip you with practical tools, insights from experts, and real life stories. Because at the end of the day, you are the head of your child's care team. Each week, you'll hear from pediatric experts and fellow moms like you that will help build your confidence. They'll offer clarity and empower you to make informed decisions that work for your whole family. Today's episode is a really fun one. We're talking about horses in therapy. And who better to do that than my friend Jess? She's a mom of 3. And wow, she has this special interest in something called hippotherapy. It's horses in therapy. And we're going to learn from her what in the world that is about. And we're going to talk about the differences between hippotherapy and you're an occupational therapist like myself and occupational therapy. And how in the world can they help kids? So I want to hear a little bit about you first. So Jess, you're a mom and a working mom, and tell us a little bit about your life, like who's in your family and what's life like these days?
Yeah. So I have 3 kids. My oldest is 12 years old, and she is interested in dance and takes some riding lessons.
I cannot believe she's 12 years old, by the way. I remember when she was like this high.
Yes.
What happened?
Starting middle school this year. And
So tall. Is she as tall as you now?
almost.
Oh, my word.
Yeah. It's getting really close. And we can share shoes, which is great.
Yeah. It's the weird thing when your oldest gets that tall and you're like, what has happened?
Yeah. Yeah. It's wild. But then my older son is 8 years old, and he is super passionate currently about New York City, Jurassic Park, and Minecraft are his big passions.
Have you taken him to New York City?
Not yet.
Not yet.
He wants us to.
It's an adventure for sure. I have a son that lives there, so we should get them connected. You know, he's all things, loves New York, knows how to get around, lives there. It's crazy.
One of these days we're going to have to plan it, and I'm going to have to come to you and say, okay, Pam, how do we make this work?
Yeah. It is a different, for sure. It's so crazy when you ride the subway. Like I remember as a little girl riding it, and it looks just the same. Like all my memories come back. I'm like, I'm pretty sure this hasn't changed at all.
Yes.
Like these walls look exactly the same.
Yeah.
And then you have another little one?
Yeah. So my youngest is 2, and he is super
Smoochy
smart.
guy.
Yeah, he's a sweetheart. He's definitely a mama's boy. Very, very attached, but also wants to do absolutely everything that his big brother does, which is a little rough sometimes.
Is he a talker? Like, does he talk a lot?
Oh, yeah. He's got a great vocabulary. Yeah, it's amazing some of the things that he comes out with. And sometimes I'm like, and why does my 2-year-old know about whatever topics the 8-year-old is interested in? But he definitely likes to keep me on my toes and prove to me that even though I'm supposedly an experienced mom now, there's still so much more to learn.
Really? You just go, what do I do now?
Every single child is so different.
So different. They do all keep you on your toes. I'll say that.
Yes.
For sure. So how in the world, I'm guessing your background, did you grow up with horses? How'd you get interested in horses?
Yeah. So I did grow up riding horses. I started riding when I was 8 years old in California. And my passion for horses led us to Kentucky. So we moved here when I was 13. And I grew up riding and competing in a variety of different horse sports. Horses have brought so many incredible opportunities into my life. I was able to travel overseas several different times competing with mounted games, which is kind of like relay races on horseback, where you compete on a team of 5 riders in a variety of different races. And that was an incredible experience.
Was that your favorite event, that relay event?
So I did a lot of different things. I did eventing and combined driving and dressage and then mounted games as well. But I did love mounted games.
Wow.
So
I know really nothing about horses other than I've always loved them. I always had books about horses, but I didn't grow up around them. So I'm so fascinated by people like you who know so much and grew up around it. So as a mom, what's a favorite piece of advice someone has given you?
So probably the piece of advice that I think about the most is my good friend who also introduced me to hippotherapy. When my kids were young, she would say, safe, whenever they would like fall or trip, have little bumps and scrapes. And it taught me that I have to really gauge my own reaction to it, because a lot of times their bumps and falls are very minor.
Yeah.
And if we have a big over the top reaction, then they're going to panic and it's going to turn into a big thing. But if we just go like, it's okay, you're fine.
So she did.
They kind of brush it off.
She did safe, like baseball, like.
She's more of a sports person. I can't pull off the safe, but
So
it always comes
She
to
did
mind.
that just like, you're safe. Good.
Yeah, they'd
creative.
wipe out. And she goes, safe.
That's awesome. Did you come up with your own saying?
No,
or would you
not
just
so
like,
much. No.
not panic?
Yeah, just not panicking, and that serves me well as a pediatric therapist as well, because a certain degree of risk taking is normal and necessary
And
for
good.
learning.
Yeah.
So it helps me to control my.
Yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't be climbing up that slide right now.
Yeah.
And just realize that's part of learning.
Those playgrounds that, they were, I'm sure, death traps, I'm sure. Merry-go-rounds and crazy seesaws and, swings that you could feel like you could flip over. Those dome things, remember those? When you could like climb on them.
Yeah.
Because we don't have a lot of that anymore left for kids.
Tried to make it so safe now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got into hippotherapy from a friend. And then what happened after that?
Yeah. So growing up, I was in Pony Club, and it's a youth organization, kind of like Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, but focused on youth development with horses. And so we had a volunteer service project at a facility where there was an OT, a PT, and a speech therapist who were incorporating hippotherapy. And so I started volunteering when I was 15 and absolutely fell in love with it, met some really great therapists, and continued that throughout college. And they gradually over time wore me down from thinking that I wanted to be a vet and convinced me to go into the therapy field. And I love that hippotherapy allows me to combine my passion for horses and my passion for pediatric therapy.
That's really amazing that you are on your journey to become a vet, and these friends like switched that up.
Yeah.
Challenge you, switch that up. So where did you graduate from occupational therapy school?
So I did my undergraduate at UK, and I actually have an equine science major. Skip that. An equine science major. And then I went to EKU for occupational therapy school.
So same as me. I graduated from EKU as well. So a lot of moms listening right now have never heard the term hippotherapy. What in the world does that mean? How is it different from just like signing your kids up for maybe adoptive riding or signing your kids up for a horseback riding lesson or something like that? Explain that.
Yeah. So this is an area that I'm really passionate about. I served on the American Hippotherapy Association board for several years. I'm still very involved in several committees and actually chaired the professional practice committee for a couple of years. And terminology is really huge. So I love having the opportunity to educate people on correct terminology usage, because it's very confusing a lot of times, especially for parents. So hippotherapy, the generalized definition of it is the use of equine movement as a tool used by occupational therapists, physical therapists, or speech therapists. So during a session incorporating hippotherapy, whatever discipline your child was referred for is still what's actually occurring. So during my sessions, I am providing occupational therapy, but the movement of the horse is the tool that I can use, just like if I were in the clinic, I might use a swing or a ball. It's just a different therapeutic approach that's available to me. So all of my goals for hippotherapy are still related to those functional goals that you as a parent help to set with your therapist. It might be that your child is able to tie their shoes or pull up their pants or eat more independently, whatever those functional based goals are. For a lot of times when people hear about therapy in horses, what comes to mind is therapeutic riding. And I prefer to refer to therapeutic riding as adaptive riding. The two terms can be used synonymously, but I prefer adaptive riding just for clarity of conversation because it can be likened to any other adaptive sports, adaptive baseball, adaptive basketball, adaptive skiing, in which a riding instructor, not a therapist, has special training in order to adapt a horseback riding lesson to allow people with disabilities to be able to participate in that meaningful leisure activity.
So a child who's impulsive that may have a diagnosis of autism would have a riding instructor who's kind of coached or trained on how to interact with them and keep them safe while they're doing that adaptive riding.
Yes.
And then if they had a physical disability, they would have the same. Would they have saddles that accommodate, like, say, a child who is paralyzed or had no movement from their waist down or something like that? Would they then be able to help them adaptive ride?
Yes.
And they're just learning how to kind of ride a horse, right?
Yeah, yeah. And depending on the ability level of the individual, the goal may never be that they are independently riding a horse, but they're getting to participate in that valued leisure activity, just like another child might get to go and have riding lessons that they're getting to get on the horse. A lot of times with adaptive riding, you'll see them having reins. Usually the reins are attached to like a neck strap or something, not directly to the horse's bit. But the child might be learning how to steer the horse and working on like directions and left, right, and things like that. Much of the time they will be in a saddle, not always, because depending on different disabilities, we may need to modify the equipment that's being used to allow the person to be more comfortable and supported. Versus in hippotherapy, occasionally we'll use reins, like especially as occupational therapists. Maybe we are working on directional awareness and we'll tell the child, okay, pull left, pull right, or we're working on their grasp strength or something, but very rarely do I have reins on. Usually for hippotherapy, the horse we prefer to long line our horses. So a lot of times you'll see the person actually in control of the horse is standing behind them with long reins that attach to the bit, because that allows the person on the horse's back to have this open vantage point in front of them and kind of feel like they're just moving through space. So for children,
and then there's usually people on either side, right? I've seen that. So somebody on either side of the child, and then the person with the reins in the back.
Yeah.
I have a mental picture. I can picture it.
Yeah. So usually for some of our kids that might be a little bit higher level, we might have two sidewalkers on either side who are volunteers who have been trained. And the therapist might be standing back and observing from a distance and directing the session. Or for a child who needs more skilled handling, the therapist might be one of the sidewalkers alongside.
Yeah. So tell me, what kind of kids can go on a horse and what age, and how would a therapist even decide, or how would a mom like think, oh, this is maybe for my child? Like what is the criteria, or how and where in the world do you go for such wonderful therapy? Where do you go for hippotherapy?
So there's a wide range of people who can participate in hippotherapy and get a lot of benefit out of it. The general rule of thumb is that we don't start before age 2. Just
wow,
because
2, that's little. I would have thought it would be older.
Yeah,
that's
they're tiny, but we want them to have pretty good head control generally. And it also depends on the skill level of the person providing the services and incorporating the equine movement, because some may have specialized training to be able to do a little bit younger, but the general rule of thumb is 2 years and up. And then we've worked with people throughout the lifespan into their 80s, and we've worked with people that have had like spinal cord injuries, brain injuries, young adults with brain injuries, A lot of benefit for them too. So when we talk about this, a lot of times we think kids, but it's not just for kids. A lot of
Yeah.
people can benefit from it.
And so does the person, no matter what their age, whether they're a child or an adult, do they have to have had any experience with horses, or how do they get comfortable with a horse? Like, what does that look like? If you were meeting someone for the first time and they were having their very first hippotherapy session, what would that look like? Would they get on the horse that first day, or would they just meet them, or what? Tell us about that.
Yeah. So for the first session, and for all of our sessions, the entire session doesn't occur on the horse. Part of the session will occur either in a therapy room or a therapy space and working on kind of more traditional therapy skills. And then a portion of the session will be generally on the horse. There may be days where we decide something's going on, either something's happening with the weather or the child's having some seizures or something like that. And so the entire therapy session may occur off of the horse, but generally our goal is to get them on because that's what
Why
we're
they're
looking
there.
for. We want that equine movement because it is so powerful. So a general session, a lot of times we will get them on during the initial evaluation. It may be that they've already had an initial evaluation in the clinic and then they come out, or they may be going out to the farm specifically to start with a therapist who is only out there. So they'll have that initial evaluation. We'll go over things just like we would if we were in a clinic setting, and then we'll take them out and see how they do on the horse. A lot of them do very well and take right to it and are excited to see the horse. We do have kids that are fearful and hesitant. Sometimes they have separation anxiety.
Yeah.
Sometimes this is a really big animal and we're not sure what to do. And we just go at the child's pace and we try to make it fun and playful. And I had a little one once who, it took us several sessions of just playing and doing therapy around the horse before she was comfortable with getting on the horse. We have a little one that we're working with now who has some big feelings and separation anxiety from parents and might fuss a little bit, but we're always really gauging how the child's doing, and we're not going to push them out too far out of their comfort zone beyond what we know that they can handle.
Yeah.
But sometimes we'll challenge them a little bit to see how long can we stick with it. The other thing is that equine movement is so powerful. So we like to use the example of horses take on average 100 steps per minute. So in a 20-minute, and with each step, they're moving the child or the person on top, the client on top of the horse, through the same movement pattern that they would get if they were walking. This
So there's a lot of
three-dimensional
like
movement pattern.
Wiggle movement back and forth, side to side.
Because as we're walking, our pelvis moves in 3 planes. The horse replicates that. So in a 20-minute treatment session, they're basically completing 2,000 reps of movement patterns that are not specific to just one muscle. You can think about trying to do 20,000 bicep curls, but it's entire body system wide, which is why we
And they're having to react to those little subtle weight shifts and movements. And
yeah,
so that's a lot of work.
So sometimes that first session, they may only last 5 minutes, but a lot of times we'll see them quickly progressing to where they're tolerating 20 minutes or so.
And there are a lot of people who have really poor core and trunk control that really works on too.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about, like, I want to hear just some stories of how did you get your kids used to horses and what did that look like? And do you have like some funny memories or stories of that, or scary story, either one, like something memorable about your own kids?
Yeah. So all of my kids got taken out to the barn when they were 2 weeks old, and I have pictures of all of them just set up on my little pony at 2 weeks old. My daughter, when she was younger, I had some miniature horses that were very gentle and just the right size for her. And so she used to go out and lead her little ponies around. And my middle son, which my daughter's funny because she loves the idea of horses, but by the time you go through all of the steps of tacking them up and actually get out to the arena, she'll do like one lap and she's done. Whereas my middle son isn't all that interested in the horses for the horse's sake, but he absolutely loves the sensory input and the movement that he gets. And he would stay on the horse all day long.
All the time.
And then my youngest, he really likes horses, but he's not really been on very much yet.
Yeah.
But
his time's coming.
Yeah, it was his favorite animal.
Well, and I remember just my little exposure wasn't much, but I went to a Girl Scout. We had horseback riding lessons through a plantation where I lived in the South, and we could go learn to ride horses. And the most interesting part for me, I think I was probably like maybe 4th, 5th grade, was just learning to brush them and scrape their hooves and take care of them.
Yeah.
It was really interactive. So I would imagine people love that, just getting used to how do you touch a horse? How do you interact with a horse?
Yeah.
How do you...
Yeah. So especially for some of our older kids who might be working on like their standing balance or their endurance, we'll have them sometimes help with getting the horse ready or taking the equipment off after the session. And there's a lot of benefits. They can work a lot on like their reaching skills with brushing the horse, might be working to squat and kind of picking out the horse's feet. We usually will hold them and kind of help with that. But then you had asked me earlier about funny stories.
Yeah.
So we have one young man who his absolute favorite part of the session is getting to pick up horse manure at the end of it.
Oh,
and each week
hilarious.
he'll come
That would not
and
be my
ask,
favorite.
and he'll say, "Jack poop?" And we'll be like, "Probably." But it's amazing how many functional skills you can work on, and pushing a manure cart and having to scoop and
Picking up the
lift
poop.
and
Picking up the poop is a job.
and all kids love poop.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that we can use the equine environment when they're off of the horse as well in a therapeutic way.
Oddly enough, a lot of horse poop doesn't smell bad.
No, it's not too bad.
It smells like hay, kind
And
of.
if you're a horse person, you kind of like it.
Yeah, you kind of like it. You get used to it. Kind of smells like what they eat. Hey. So what about feeding them or watering them? Do they help with any of that? Or
We have had kids in the past. I actually had an older child that I worked with years ago who also had some challenges with picky eating. And so we would go out and we would kind of walk through the steps to eating with the horse grain, and we would look at it, we would touch it, we would smell it, we would prepare it for the horses, we would go and like slide it under their doors. And so there's a lot of benefits to that. We had one little guy who was working on his chewing skills in the clinic, and his speech therapist relayed that to his physical therapist who saw him. And we were like, okay, now watch your horse chew. See how their jaw's going round and round in a circle?
that's funny.
Try to carry
They
over
do.
some of
They're
that.
good chewers. They really chew.
Yeah.
Both cows and horses chew a lot.
They
With
do.
a lot of
It's
slobber,
that,
too.
That good rotary chew that we feeding therapists are looking for.
So tell me about a story where a child connected, maybe in an emotional way or a deep way, connected to the horse. Because I find that fascinating when people, it doesn't have to be a child, but a person connects to a horse.
There's been so many of them, and I was trying to kind of think back about some of the most memorable ones. And I thought of two kids in particular. One was several years ago, young man who is just an animal lover in general, and he had this really deep connection with our one horse, Kate, and he just loved her, and he would come and just hug on her. We've got this one great picture that his mom took where he's like, yeah, as soon as he got on her, and it's just the neatest picture. And when he kind of graduated from not necessarily needing OT with hippotherapy, I referred them to just take riding lessons for him. He was kind of able to just continue that
that's
passion
neat.
and still be able to be involved in the horses. And then just recently, we have a little guy who I thought he would really like hippotherapy just from the sensory aspect and getting that movement. But he just absolutely loves the horse, and he is like starting to try to look
more
for
enamored with the
it.
horse than
He is.
riding. Yeah.
He like visual tracking is kind of a challenge, but he'll sit there and he'll watch the horse walk around to the mounting block to come in to get on for the session. And he has never really had interest in petting like their family dog and stuff. And he's reaching out and petting the horse. And
How
it's
sweet.
really neat.
So like the first time he's really connecting with another animal, with an animal,
Yeah.
not even his own dog. Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So we're in central Kentucky, which is, if anybody's outside of this area, if you don't know, we are horse capital of the world. And you would think we would have lots of this around, but actually there's really not a lot of places to go for hippotherapy. So where in our area in central Kentucky, where can children go or adults go if they want, if they're being referred for occupational therapy, physical therapy, or speech therapy on the horse? Where can they go?
So, yeah, there are very few around here, surprisingly. So I would really recommend, if someone is interested in it, to go on the American Hippotherapy Association website. It's American Hippotherapy Association.org, I believe. They have a Find a Therapist page where it has a list of therapists who have either taken the one of their training courses in the past 5 years or who hold advanced certification, either the AHCB, which is an entry-level certification, or the Hippotherapy Clinical Specialist certification.
So you pull them up in that database, and then you can find out
and then
where
you
to
can
go.
find their contact information.
That's a good plan.
And they're just a wealth of information as well. There's an FAQ page that's geared towards parents and can help with that further understanding of adaptive riding versus hippotherapy, and just choosing the one that's right for you, because there's benefits to both. It just depends on where you're at in life and which one might fit your family's needs the best.
So moms, go to the American Hippotherapy Association website and learn more about hippotherapy and see if that might be right for your child or maybe a loved one, you know. And I've loved hearing about your experiences and hearing about how the horse can be so powerful in therapy. I love that. One last question. What's some encouragement you might have for a mom that, you know, has a child with special needs? They're out there looking for what are all the things, you know, I can do to help my child. They're looking for different types of therapy, different activities. And it is hard when you have a child with special needs. There aren't a lot of activities. You can't just sign them up for anything, you know, that they have unique needs. And, you know, a lot of your typical developing kids, they can do many different things. But your kids with disabilities, it's a lot smaller. So what's a piece of encouragement for those moms that you might have?
So I think just always remembering that the family is the child's best advocate, that you are kind of the most important part on your child's team, and don't be afraid to ask questions and try to build that team, that support network of therapists or whoever it may be around you that will help to guide you to different resources and things like that. But just know that you're an extremely important, valuable piece of your child's team.
I always say, moms, you are the head of your child's team, of their school team, their medical team, you know, everything about your child. You're the advocate. You're the one to cheer for them and to go to bat for them. And you're doing a great job. That's mostly, moms, what you need to hear. You're doing a great job. We're so hard on ourselves and feel like we're not doing enough, but you're doing great. And I'm so glad you listened today and learned a little bit about hippotherapy. Who knew horses and therapy went together? But I really thank you for your expertise, for sharing what you know about this and helping moms with information that may be right for their child. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to share it with a mom, a friend, or someone around you that needs some encouragement as a mom. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on the next conversation. Until next time, remember, you're doing a great job. Thanks so much for listening to Help, I Have Kids. If you're tuning into this podcast, that means you're a mom who's curious, committed, and ready to learn. And we see you. We'd love for you to join our Help I Have Kids Facebook community, where moms just like you are connecting, asking questions, and encouraging each other every day. It's a space for real conversations, expert insight, and support from moms who get it, because we're all in this together. And if you know a mom who's feeling unsure or maybe overwhelmed, or just needs to be reminded that she can do it, she can advocate for her child with confidence, share this episode with her. We're building a village here, and we're glad you're a part of it.